Hey everyone, I'm out in the forest today looking for great gray owls to photograph. I haven't had any luck yet, but I still have all late afternoon and evening to hopefully find one to be able to come away with some pictures before the end of the day. I've been seriously photographing wildlife now for 8 or 9 years, and it has been such an amazing and incredible journey. I love going back and looking at all the pictures that I've taken along the way and remembering the thrill and the excitement that I felt when taking each one. Whether you're new to wildlife photography, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you know your way around the camera pretty well, or you're a true master, there are steps that we all take throughout this journey that help us improve and progress in our photography. Today I wanted to review some of the steps that I've taken throughout my wildlife photography journey. These will be different types of images that I've focused on taking over the years that have really helped me to stretch and improve my skills as a photographer. These may be different than some of the steps that you've taken along your journey, but either way they can help you establish a photography roadmap and help you to really improve and hone your skills as a photographer. We'll start with a very basic type of image that every wildlife photographer takes and progressively get harder throughout the video. Let's jump right in. When I started into wildlife photography, the majority of the images I took were portraits. I don't mean images oriented vertically, also called portrait orientation, but images where the animal is largely stationary, posing nicely for the camera. These are the easiest type of wildlife images to take in my opinion, as you're usually dealing with a very slow-moving or even unmoving subject. Portraits are great for beginner photographers as they allow you time to really compose the image how you want to, and you don't have to worry about tracking a moving subject in your viewfinder. Now please do not misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm not implying at all that portraits are only for beginner photographers or that you're beginner level if you largely focus on portrait photography. I'm simply saying that a basic portrait is probably the easiest type of wildlife photo you can take. That being said, even professional photographers will always make room in their portfolio for a nice portrait. Portraits can be very basic, but you can also make them much more complex, and we'll jump into that a little bit later in this video. As I progressed as a wildlife photographer, I started to move beyond just portrait photography and began to add action into my photos. Because I had focused on portrait photography so much in the beginning, I found that this really helped me as I progressed to focus on a subject quickly and to compose my image how I wanted to without thinking too much about it. And this really began to help me as I moved into more tracking and photographing moving subjects. If you're having a difficult time photographing action, getting sharp images, or tracking a moving subject, let's break things down a little bit further and simplify things a bit. Let's start with basic action, something like an animal walking, feeding, or action that takes place while the animal is still mostly stationary, like a grouse displaying, for example. These types of action are great because you not only get practice tracking moving subjects, but you also can come away with some incredible images. Once you feel ready to take your action photography to the next level, you can focus more on quicker action scenarios like birds in flight, animals playing, and animals running. This is a step that I'm constantly trying to improve in my own photography, and there are multiple exercises that you can do at home to help. I have a separate video that I made a while ago that reviews the exercises that I use most to help improve tracking subjects and wildlife photography in general. I'll put a link to that in the description below, and you can check it out after this video if you're interested or just want a few ideas. I recommend taking some time whenever you can to focus on getting action shots of wildlife. For me, this has been the most difficult point to feel confident in, but also the most rewarding, as many of my favorite images are action shots. The next stepping stone or type of image that you can focus on to help improve your wildlife photography are images with multiple subjects in them. These images can be difficult. It's hard to know what subject to focus on, and a lot of that simply comes down to personal preference or what story you're trying to tell. I've found that images with multiple subjects in them generally hold the viewer's attention for longer and can portray emotions that you wouldn't see otherwise if that animal was solitary. While taking pictures with multiple subjects, you'll find that you'll call upon the skills that you learned and developed while practicing with both portraits and action photography, and you'll be glad that you spent the time fine-tuning your skills in these areas. Another type of image that I wanted to cover, and in my opinion, one of the most difficult to get, or rather to train your eye for, is a portrait, an action shot, or an image with multiple subjects that also includes some sort of element from the landscape or weather condition that really transforms the overall image. That probably didn't make any sense whatsoever, so let me give you a few examples. Each spring, I love photographing sage grouse as they display. I've done so countless times in perfect light, and it's always amazing. One morning last spring, it was colder than usual. There was a slight fog in the air and the sun was about to rise. Because it was cold, I knew that I could use that to more easily capture the grouse's breath, and because of the light fog, I knew the air would explode with color once the sun was up. I used those elements or conditions to transform my pictures from that morning. Recently, I photographed some mountain goats. The goats were in a meadow of flowers and the resulting images were wonderful. A nanny goat and her kid began to approach a nearby lake and the mother actually began to cross. Using the still water in the lake, I was able to capture a near mirror image of the goats and again, transform the image into something better. This can be applied to all types of photography. Transform your portraits by incorporating more of the surrounding landscape. Improve your action shots by adding more natural colors from the terrain or various light conditions. And always look for settings in which you can incorporate multiple subjects into your images with fun light or landscape features. These different types of images have varying difficulty levels, but by practicing each of them, you will develop a very well-rounded and solid foundation of skills and knowledge in your wildlife photography. I would love to hear from you guys. What types of wildlife images did I leave out in this week's video, and where would you rank them in the list of types of images that we covered today? Let us know in the comments below. I love learning from you guys. I now have my 2025 wildlife calendars available on my website. I have both a standard option as well as a fully customizable option that allows you to select the images you want to see each month. Each image is accompanied by the story that led up to it, behind the scenes videos, and more. Bring some nature into your home or office, or pick one up for a family member or friend. Get yours today by hitting the link in the description below. I appreciate each one of you who supports my work by picking up a calendar or by signing up for one of my photography workshops. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I'll see you next time, but until then, let's go find some great gray owls.